Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, guys, I'm live once again. I actually had this live scheduled a couple days ago. I was supposed to do this live a couple days ago. Hold on, let me see. Am I even public right now? Let me see if I'm public. Hold on, I'm on private. Hold on. We're not even on public. Hold on. Hold on. Put that joint on public. And then we'll have to wait. We'll have to go ahead and wait for some people to tune in. But I guess I'll just sit here and wait. But yeah, I'm here. It's been, let me see. We got comments. Shout out to everybody here. Hold on. Let me know if you guys can see me right now. Because right now, the internet's a bit choppy where I'm at. And apparently I had the live on private when I started. So, let me know if you guys can see me. I see a couple comments, so it looks like I'm good now. Good to see everybody here. It's your boy BT, the Untouchable True School Sports Empire. I had this live scheduled a couple days ago, but I've been here in training camp, running around, ripping and running. So I didn't have time to do it. But yeah, we'll definitely go ahead and talk about Janibek calling out Crawford. We'll talk about Crawford getting pulled over, held at gunpoint. We'll talk about, all those things in boxing. But I hope everybody's doing good. I hope everybody's week is off to a good start. It's been a rough, a couple days for me, honestly. But we continue to persevere. We continue to maintain a good attitude. And we're here giving you guys that world-class boxing talk and world-class boxing content. So it's good to be seen once again. Let me go ahead and take some time to acknowledge the fine folks that are already here. We got Pac-Man in the building. He said, "What's up, BT? What's up, Pac-Man? Good to see you." Pedro says, "Has it started? What's going on, BT? Good to see you, Pedro. I see you." Jeffrey the Pig says, "Hello, BT. Good to see you, Jeffrey the Pig." Nigel Lopez says, David Esser says, "Nigel Lopez looked pretty good the other night. Do you think Better BF turned on the fight for an easier fight?" Well, I guess we'll find out, right? We'll find out depending on who Better BF fights next. So you'll get your answer. But I mean, the fight doesn't really that fight doesn't really do anything for Better BF. We're just being honest. And Najee's a tall fighter, good hand speed, good punching power. Different to a lot of guys that he's been fighting recently. So I can see why he would decide to go another direction. He's 40 years old. I know the live is about Crawford. Yeah, it's about Crawford, but it's an old live. Like I had this live scheduled days ago. The only reason I'm even doing this live is because I had it scheduled days ago, and I wanted to talk about it. But before I even get into this whole Crawford live, and Janibek and just other things going on in boxing, and get into your guys' questions, I gotta vent about some stuff. Because it's been a rough couple days. And as you guys know, I was out here in camp with my boy Yugo Saki, great young fighter. Think the world of him. He was supposed to fight Friday. Apparently, he's not fighting Friday now, and it's not his fault. It's not anybody's fault other than his promoters. So, yeah, that's boxing for you. You can spend 4 or 5 weeks getting ready, do all the right things, and sometimes you don't even get a chance to fight, and sometimes things happen that are beyond your control. So it's been a rough couple of days just because I've been really sad about that. But what you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It's life. It's boxing. Sometimes things don't go how you want them to go. We keep going forward. God don't make mistakes. God's perfect. God's time is perfect. So we'll trust that. I've done that my whole life, and we'll continue doing that. But yeah, I've been a bit down. I've been a bit down because of that. Just he was supposed to fight October 3rd. Eliminator fight, and been out here for like almost 5 weeks now, and now we're not going to fight because of some technicality with the Japanese Boxing Commission not approving him to fight in America. So it's nonsense. But what you gonna do? But anyway, I don't want to talk too much about it. I just wanted to get it out there because I haven't really talked about it too much. It's really pissing me off. But shout out to Rafael Macias. He says, "What's good, BT? I hope all is well." All is great, man. All is great. Life is, for the most part, pretty good. Other than something, we're just here. That's my view right there. So I'm sitting here just watching the sunset here on the hill. Talking some boxing with you guys. They said, "Hey, BT, how have you been?" For the most part, I've been pretty good. I've been here in California for like a month, a little over a month now, and I've had the honor of helping my good buddy Yugo Osaki in camp. But we're not fighting, and it's not his fault. So I'm bummed out about that. But other than that, life is good. Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like I, it's crazy because you're being told you're gonna fight on a certain day, and you get promised certain things, and then people don't hold up their end of the bargain. And then see, like when people wonder why fighters go on layoffs. If you guys want to know why fighters go on layoffs, because I know boxing fans sometimes have a hard time understanding why does fighter X or fighter A not fight for a year or 2 years or 3 years. Sometimes, many times, and it's not on the fighters, unless you're like a Joshua or a Tank or I guess in this case a Crawford, someone who really has like control over their career. 99% of boxing and fighters don't have any control over their career. So sometimes you may get offered a fight that you don't even want to take, and they say take it or leave it, and so you take the fight, and then sometimes you listen to the promoter and still take the fight, and they still don't let you fight because of things that are beyond your control. So, now this young kid, he's got his career stalled a little bit now, and it's sad. You hate to see it, but I gotta trust that things are gonna work out. But anyway, guys, look, this live is about Crawford versus Janibek. So I want to get to my talking points. I got about 4 talking points I want to run through. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Definitely super chat. I appreciate you guys with all the support this month. This month on the channel, it hasn't been my best month content-wise, in my opinion. I feel like I could have did more. But I appreciate every last bit of support. Everybody who continuously tunes in and continues showing that love and that support on a consistent basis. Like, it doesn't go unnoticed. And a lot of you guys are the reasons why I still come on here and muster up the energy to get on these lives, even when I don't have the energy to get on these lives, if I'm being honest. So I want to say, guys, I'm very appreciative, especially for the support this month, because it's just been a crazy month. But anyway, Janibek calls out Terence Crawford. Let's talk about that, because there's been a lot of speculation about what is Terence Crawford going to do with his career, and we've heard him throw out the idea and the possibility of going to middleweight. Now, obviously, Janibek caught wind of this, and Janibek or whoever runs Janibek's Twitter account, they're not gonna let anything slide. They're always on there, active, tweeting crazy stuff, saying that nobody wants to fight him, saying that he's the middleweight king. So he pretty much said in so many words that, look, if Terence Crawford comes to middleweight, I will gladly fight him, and it'll be one of those fights that boxing fans will always remember. It'll be one of those like unforgettable fights. So let's talk about that potential matchup, because I personally feel like Terence Crawford can do whatever he wants to do at this point in his career. Like, he's proven enough, right? But if he's really still trying to fight the best, if he's really still trying to fight the baddest fighters in and around his weight, this is one of the guys. Terence Crawford's never been a middleweight. He's never won a world title at middleweight. This is the middleweight kingpin. So you're talking about Terence Crawford with the opportunity here to become a 5-division lineal champion, right? Because he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was lineal at 135, 140, or it might have been, let me see, was it, well, it was 140, 147, 168 now, and it might have been 38 or 135. I don't know if it was 35, 54. I'm pretty sure it's 35. But it would be a chance for him to be a 6th-division champion and a 4-time lineal, a 5-time lineal champion. So that's special stuff. If he can be the guy like Janibek, I think the fight makes all the sense in the world for a guy like Janibek, because the middleweight division, as I've documented many times here on True School Sports, is probably the weakest division in boxing right now. And for lack of a better term, the division sucks. The division is not very good. The division has lacked entertaining fights, scintillating fights that have meant anything. So I feel like if Janibek were to fight a guy like Terence Crawford, it's what his career needs. I've been a Janibek fan for a lot of years. Going all the way back to my first video about him in 2019. And I've always been high on him, but he just, it's not his fault. There's not really
big names in this weight class to go fight. Now, other guys that I would like to see him fight, sure. There's Carlos Adames, there's Ian Green, there's Yoel Luis Hernandez, there's those kind of guys, but those aren't the kind of fights that would really like put his name on a different level. If I'm just being perfectly honest, Janibek versus Crawford would be an awesome fight because even though Canelo was the 168-pound lineal champion and he was the guy that reigned and ruled all that division for half a decade, he's not as big as Janibek, right? Janibek is bigger than Canelo. He's bigger than a lot of guys as far as his frame and his size. So that right there makes it a more interesting task to tackle if Crawford wants to go that route. They're talking about him being a southpaw, right? Which would make the fight very intriguing from a stylistic standpoint because you're going to have a southpaw and southpaw matchup. Terence Crawford has been beating a lot of guys for a number of years now exclusively out of the southpaw stance. He beat Canelo Alvarez exclusively out of the southpaw stance. And so one thing I know about southpaws, being a fellow southpaw myself, is that it's difficult. It's difficult and it feels weird when a southpaw fights a fellow southpaw because there's not as many southpaws. You're not going to get as many of those looks in the gym, and it's just different. So I'd be intrigued to see if Terence Crawford fought Johnny Beck, I'd be intrigued to see if he would stay exclusively out of that southpaw stance, or would the power punching of Johnny Beck and the pedigree he has, would it force him to fight out of the orthodox stance? Because if you look at a lot of Crawford's fights, I mean, not so much in Madrimov, but for the last 5 years, for the most part, he's been beating these guys damn near exclusively out of the southpaw stance. It's only been a couple of guys that have made him fight out of that orthodox stance. So I like that aspect of it. If Johnny Beck clips and is able to land flush on Crawford, how does Crawford take his punching power? We know Crawford's not chinny. We've seen Crawford get by Canelo. We've seen him get hit by like Spence. My bad, guys. The internet went out. The internet went out. All right, I'm back. I'm back, guys. I'm back. My bad. The internet's been a little spotty today. I don't know why it's been like that, but we'll come downstairs. I was outside, but we're back. But yeah, I think it's we'll go to the ghetto camp room where we normally do the lives. I think it's a good matchup. I think it's a fight that both guys, mainly Johnny Beck though, because Crawford's legacy, like he done went ahead and cemented it with his Canelo fight, whether you like it or not. I feel like Johnny Beck needs that fight more. Truthfully, Johnny Beck needs that fight more. Johnny Beck would benefit a lot in a lot of ways from getting that fight. So we'll see. But anyway, hold on. Let me go ahead to I got a super chat from my boy Matt Borges, and he said, "What's the point in Bud not retiring? He's gonna lose." Listen, I feel like Terence Crawford, the best move he can make is to retire. You're not going to get no more bigger than you are now in terms of hype and notoriety and everyone's perception of you than right now. You beat Canelo. You're a 5-division champion. You're a 4-time lineal champion, I believe. So it's like, what more is there to prove? Sure. Would it be cool to be a 6th division champion? Of course. But, Janibek is not. You're not getting the same reward fighting Janibek as you would for Canelo, and on top of that, it's not a. It's potentially a more dangerous fight. I think it's a more dangerous fight, if I'm being honest with you. Because unlike Canelo, Janibek you would say he's closer to his prime than a guy like Canelo, who a lot of people, even the Crawford fans, will tell you that Canelo Alvarez was not what he once was. So I feel like it's a fight that doesn't make as much sense. Let me see. Shout out to everybody here. We got my man Kyoto. He says he won't fight Janibek. He's gonna cherry pick Adames or Lara. I don't think he's gonna fight Janibek. I don't think he will. He might fight Adames because they've sparred. They have familiarity with each other. Like I know there's that real famous clip of Crawford sparring Adames at Gleason's gym. But Lara, I honestly, man, I don't want to see that fight. Like I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm not a big Lara guy. I can't. I'm really like I don't really care for Lara too much, for being honest. Sebastian says at least we're getting the fights. Yes, we are. We're getting the fights. Where are they? Where are the fights? What fights are we getting? You always come in here and you always say at least we're getting the fights, right? I have never seen I've never seen boxing in a slower period in my entire life going into a fourth quarter than now. And you have Turkey and Ari Emanuel and Dana White to thank for that. Now they want to know what are my thoughts on Zuffa boxing. I don't have any thoughts right now. I'm still fleshing out what I think about Zuffa boxing. I'm planning on that being tomorrow's live. I want to give it like a day to really flesh out what I think about Zuffa boxing and this whole Paramount thing. Has a chance to get boxing a lot of visibility, but like I said, I haven't really thought too deeply about it yet. I'm kind of just focused on this live because I was supposed to do this live a couple days ago. But what I will say about Zuffa boxing is that I know they signed Vito Milnicki today. So if that's the level of fighter they're gonna sign, then I don't know how far Zuffa boxing is gonna go. Like, do you guys think that Zuffa boxing can captivate the American market with fights like Callum Walsh versus Vito Milnicki? I don't know. Y'all tell me. He signed Vito Milnicki, Callum Walsh, and Julian Hammerhands. Yeah, I mean, Julian Hammerhands is a good fighter. Callum Walsh is whatever. Vito Milnicki is really whatever. Again, if you're trying to change the sport, I mean, you're gonna have to get higher caliber guys than that. Even though I like Hammerhands. Let me see. When has Bud ever cherry picked anybody? Dumbass casual. When is he? Amir Khan. Let's go with Amir Khan. How about that one? And I'm a Terence Crawford fan, but that was a cherry pick. Do you agree that Mannix and Sergio Moore hate each other? I don't know. I mean, it looks like that on air, but I don't really know. And if I'm being perfectly honest with you, Matt, and I appreciate your super chat, I don't really care if they like or dislike each other. That's not my business. But they have good banter on the zone. Hold on, I saw a comment I wanted to get to. Where is it? What do you mean, bro? The Japanese card is pretty fire, bro, from top on down. Jazz Dickens fight is main event worthy. What do you mean? What do I mean? I'm telling you what I mean. I'm saying it. I'm saying it in pretty plain English. The boxing schedule is as slow as it's ever been in the fourth quarter, due in large part to the fact that Turkey puts all these fights on the same damn card and then he spaces them out. So that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that boxing's in a very bad place because the schedule is very, very slow and the gaps aren't being filled. The Japanese card is good. I'm not saying I like the Japanese card. You got Naoya Inoue in one of the gayest fights in boxing. I've been very, very clear about that. I don't really care about the Picasso fight. The Junto fight is pretty good with Sebastian Hernandez. That's gonna be a fun fight. Ken Shiro's on the card. But again, the fights are in Saudi Arabia. Like, how many Japanese people are even going to go to Saudi Arabia for that? Like, the Japanese economy is not in a great place right now, if you don't know. And Japan's pretty far from Saudi Arabia. So, like, I feel like I feel like if he would have did this card, but if they would have did it in Japan, it would have been a slam dunk. But you're doing it in Saudi, so I mean, it is what it is. I'll watch it. I'll enjoy it for what it is. But I stand by what I'm saying. Like, the boxing schedule is slower than it's ever been going into the fourth quarter because Turkey Al Sheikh is subverting all the biggest boxing markets in the world at the same time and doing these super cards at 2 p.m. on the zone. So it is what it is. Bud has cherry-picked Khan and Kilbrook. Every fighter has cherry-picked someone. No shame or hate against Bud. Every fighter is cherry-picked. Everyone. BT, did you hear that Mosley Tama backed out of the Eliminator? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. And everyone was saying, oh, Moses wants to fight for the title. He should fight Usyk. I told you guys, his handlers don't even want him fighting at that level. Ben Davison does not want him fighting at that level. They wanted Jermaine Franklin. In my opinion, I still think they might fight Jermaine Franklin because he can beat Ivan Ditchko. You know, he had a chance to put himself as the mandatory challenger. All he had to do was beat little old Frank Sanchez. Didn't want to do that. So now he's going to go try to fight David Adelaide, someone that Philip Hergovich already beat. The Junto fight could be an upset. That's a dangerous guy. Yeah, I'm not mad at that Junto fight. At first, I was kind of like whatever, but then as I've been like learning more about his opponent, it's becoming a more and more intriguing fight. So I like that fight, but you know, it is what it is. We'll have to just live through this era of boxing with one of the slowest schedules in the history of any fourth quarter of boxing I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, it's dead right now. Boxing is very, very slow right now. The Inoue fight is hellish. It is. It really, really is. What up, BT? Does the winner of Brian Ullman and Devin Haney go after to fight the winner of Shakur and T if you won't fight, assuming that the fight actually happens? Do they? It's a great question. I mean, it's possible. Anything's possible. They're all under the Turkey sphere, so it's possible. I would rather the winner of that fight try to maybe fight, like, I don't know, Mario Barrios and get that belt off him, because I'm tired of Mario Barrios having that belt, man. Like, he's been very fortunate to get a couple draws in fights where a lot of people, myself included, thought he lost. So I would like to see Mario Barrios versus the winner of that fight. But that's also possible as well. BT, Top Rank still has no TV rights. Is this a bad sign? It's an incredibly bad sign. It's a very bad sign. Do I think Top Rank will eventually figure out something and find a landing spot? Sure. But Top Rank, the fact that TKO Boxing struck a deal with Paramount Plus, which I'm still trying to like fully figure out what I think about that. I know it's a big deal, but I know enough to know that they done checkmated the whole boxing game with that one. And you know, Dana White's funny. He's like out here saying that he doesn't want to change he doesn't want to change the Muhammad Ali Act, but he just wants to add to it. Well, guess what? You know, if I bake a piece of chicken, all right, if I remove or add anything, that piece of chicken is now different. So it's still changing. So he's funny. Like he's trying to insult everyone's intelligence and saying that he's not trying to change the Muhammad Ali Act. You're changing the Muhammad Ali Act so you can do whatever the hell you want to do. Like, just call it what it is. I'm tired of people bullshitting in life. Just call it what it is. Is it true that Rafael Espinoza is not fighting Venado, even though Venado signed for the fight? And if they don't fight, who do you think Rafa will fight? From what I've heard, I've heard it's very true that Venado Lopez signed for the fight, and I've heard through the grapevine that it's Espinoza who don't want the fight. It's Espinoza who's backing out. Now I've heard a couple of things. I'm gonna tell you guys what I've heard. I don't know what's true, so don't take this as I'm telling you that this is who he's fighting next. I'm only telling you what I've heard. I've heard that Venado Lopez, from multiple sources, I've heard that Venado Lopez has signed for the fight, and he wants to fight. And I heard that Espinoza backed out of the fight. Now, one of the things I heard was that Espinoza backed out of the fight because he's trying to fight Bruce Shoo Carrington. That's one thing I have heard. The other thing I've heard is that Espinoza backed out the fight because he's going to be fighting Kenji Fujita from Japan. So we'll see what winds up happening. But either way, yeah, it's not happening. Yeah, maybe he probably goes to 130. Shout out to my boy Brandon Hooker. He says, Buenos noches. I'm here listening. Good to see you, champ. Hope all is well. Let me see. By the way, shout out to everybody here dropping the comments. I'm just skimming the comments right now because, yeah, Janibek versus Crawford is a good fight. I don't think Crawford takes it. I don't think he takes that fight. I think he goes another direction. But it'd be crazy if he did, because there's literally no reason for Terence Crawford to go that route. Yeah, I mean, Shushu. I mean, I think the Shushu fight for Espinoza makes a lot of sense. I mean, Shushu's been out here running his mouth about wanting to fight, and I was saying I'll chop that tree down, and Espinoza, I'm sure is tired of hearing his mouth, and it would be a notable fight, but I don't know. I've heard that he's fighting Kenji Fujita as well, which that's the one I believe. I don't believe Espinoza. If Espinoza is fighting at featherweight, I don't believe he's fighting Bruce Carrington. I believe he's going to fight Kenji Fujita, because that just sounds like something Zanford Promotions would do. And anybody who's paid attention to my Japanese boxing coverage, I tell you guys, there's like 3 or 4. There's like 3 Japanese featherweights ranked in the top 5 of the WBO. You got Ryuto Owan, you got I think Makita Nakano, and you got Kenji Fujita. And I've been telling you guys, out of those 3, Kenji Fujita is the weakest one. He's pillow-fisted. He sucks. Rafael Espinoza is probably going to fight him. Hi, BT. I'm sad to hear that Osaki will not be fighting soon. What is next for Osaki? I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out myself. He was supposed to fight this Friday, October 3rd, at the Seneca Casino against Aziel VR. His promoters pulled kind of like a bait and switch, and his opponent, Aziel VR, is now fighting somebody else. So now all we got to do is just wait. All we got to do is just wait and and hope and pray that things go well. But it's really heartbreaking because, I've been out here for like almost 5 weeks with them, and, seeing the whole process of camp, seeing the whole process of him cutting weight, and, you want to see him fight, and I want him to fight because I know how good he is. He's so good, and the world deserves to see him. And hopefully things work out. I'm gonna have faith and hope that things work out. But as far as what's next, I mean, from what I've heard, his promoters are All-Star Boxing, and from what I could gather up upon my own little research is that I don't think All-Star Boxing has any shows left this year. So unless they plan on getting him out on a show in Japan before the end of the year, he's probably not going to fight for the rest of 2025, which sucks because he hasn't fought since last December. So, that's just where we're at right now. Y'all see how much Carrington's begging her ball? It's funny as fuck. It's bad none of the chance want to expose this guy. That's not true. I wouldn't say none of the chance want to expose him. It's just that he's going the route of trying to fight the guy that he believes is the easiest, which is Nick Ball, right? Nick Ball don't want to fight nobody. Rafael Espinoza, he probably is not going to be at 130, and if he stays at featherweight, he's probably going to fight pillow-fisted Kenji Fujita. And then as far as Angelo, there's some things going on with his career that I can't speak on right now. But in about 2 months, couple months, maybe I'll be able to speak on him. But right now, I can't speak on those things. But he's not even ranked in the IBF, so Angelo can't fight him. But his time will come. Let me see. That's what I'm saying. Like Sagawa did his thing with Shushu. Who do I like in the upcoming Marcus Brown versus the Brandon Glanton fight? That's a good question. I haven't seen Marcus. The last time I saw Marcus Brown fight was when I saw Beterbiev had put belt to ass on him back in the late 2021. So I don't even know what Marcus Brown's condition is like these days. I think Marcus Brown is the more skilled fighter. Brandon Glanton has a really ugly style. He mauls you. He tries to bust you. So I feel like if it comes down to skills and talent, it should be Marcus Brown. I'll probably lean towards Marcus Brown, but I haven't seen him fight in 4 years. So I'm only going off of what I remember from him as a light heavyweight. I haven't seen him really as a cruiserweight. because that's what they're gonna fight. They're gonna fight at cruiserweight. Is Shushu giving you Demetrius Andrade vibes? Like, bro's talking all this shit and can't get a fight. No, he's not. He's not. Shushu is not of the caliber of fighter Andrade is. He's a good fighter, but he's not. Andrade's a higher skill level. And guys actually didn't want to fight him. There's guys at featherweight that would fight Shushu, but he's not calling those guys out. You know, call out Odebek Komatov, call out Sagawa again, call out one of them top contenders. I'm sure they'll fight you. You know. But anyway, let me since you guys brought it up, since you guys brought it up, you guys brought up featherweight. So I had this in my talking points from back when I scheduled this. So y'all brought up Espinosa versus Bernardo Lopez. Now, I actually want this fight to happen. I like this fight. I think this fight's a good fight. I would like to see it happen for the division. If we can't get the unification fights, I feel like it's probably one of the best non-unification fights that you could make. However, as I've learned through the grapevine from multiple people, it looks like they're not going to be fighting each other, which I hope those sources are wrong. I hope they do fight each other, but I'm hearing that Espinosa is looking for Shushu Carrington. But then I'm also hearing that Espinosa could be fighting Kenji Fujita. And I'm also hearing Espinosa might be going to 130. So truth be told, I don't know what the hell is going on with Espinosa. So I'm like you guys. I'm going to wait and see. But what I can tell you is this. What I can tell you guys is this. I don't care if you're Espinosa. I don't care if you're Shushu. I don't care if you're Inoue. When it comes to this weight class, any and all roads lead to the best featherweight in the world, Angelo Leo. So, you know, I hate boxing. I'm going to tell you guys this. I love this sport of boxing, but this sport continuously tests my love for it on a daily basis because, you know, being here with Yuga, seeing some of the things that he's been subjected to behind the scenes has pissed me off and soured me. You know, things going on with Angelo's career behind the scenes right now that I know about but won't speak on, that's pissing me off. It's like, man, you guys, the fans, the viewers, you guys really think that this sport is really about the best fight and the best. You guys really think it's about who's the best. But no, let me tell you how this shit. Let me tell you how boxing really works. I'm gonna tell you how boxing really works. These promoters and these matchmakers, they all have their favorites, and they all have their guys. We know this. We call them the A-side guys. We call them the house guys. But what I'm saying is, they pre-pick the guys they want to be successful. And even if the guys suck, even if the guys are not the goods, they will do anything in their power to make it look like they're the goods. And so what winds up happening is there will be fighters that emerge and prove that they belong on that level, that they belong to, you know, that they belong in those big fights. But those fighters get boxed out and don't get the opportunities because they weren't the promoter's first choice. It's no different than, you know what, let's get real blunt here on True School Sports. It's no different than these females, all right? It's no different than these broads, right? They all have the guy they really, really want. But then, you know, sometimes the guy they really want isn't what they thought he'd be, right? So then they got to deal with the other ones. But then those guys weren't their first choice. So they get bitter towards them and they don't give them no good treatment. It's the same shit in boxing because, you know, when I look at guys like, you know, Angelo Leo, Yugo Osaki, Ian Green, Atif Overton, if you want to go to light heavyweight, there's fighters around so many weight classes that deserve to be on that top level. But guess what? The work they gotta do like 3 times more the work to get to the top level because they're not the pick of the litter of the promoters for whatever reason. So, you know, the great thing about boxing is no matter how much the promoters try to manipulate the outcomes, the boxing ring has a way of revealing what's real and what's fake. So, yeah, like the narrative of what I hear about the featherweight division is hilarious because I actually I know what's really going on in this weight class. I'm not telling you guys what I think is going on. I'm telling you guys what I know is going on. So the narrative is that you guys think that all these champions are scared of each other, and you think that they're all waiting around for Inoue. Now, could that be true for some guys? Yes. I think that's true for Nick Ball. I think that's true. Actually, I only think that's true for Nick Ball. I don't think that's true for Espinoza because, truth be told, I don't think Espinoza is going to fight Inoue. I don't think Espinoza is going to be at featherweight much longer. So I don't think it's true for Espinoza. I don't think it's true for Angelo Leo. And it wasn't true for Stephen Folan because Stephen Folan, even with the potential to get an Inoue rematch, he still didn't wait around at featherweight and try to unify. He went to 130, and that's what he's doing over there. So the only guy that I feel like that really applies to is Nick Ball because they're telling you guys in the media to your face, and he's not fighting anybody who's actually a featherweight. But the reality is, one guy doesn't want to be at featherweight much longer because he's too damn big for the weight class. The other guy has things going on with people in boxing that he has to iron out before he even has a title defense again, let alone a unification fight. And yeah, so we shall see how it goes. But yeah, no Espinoza, no Venado. Anyway, let me go ahead and get to these comments. He says, nobody beats Espinoza at 126. Angelo will beat the dog shit at Espinoza at 126, but Espinoza is not even going to hang around at 126 long enough for us to even find out. He's going to fight probably Shushu or Kenji Fujita and run on up to 130 and then go do an all-Mexican fight with one of the guys up there like a Navarrete or something like that. That's what he's going to go do if you want to keep it a spade. Odebek got to get more fights because I can see him picking up a title. He could definitely get a title. He's still, in my opinion, one of the best featherweights in the division. But again, yo, don't bring up Andre the BT. He's the OG fanboy. I wouldn't call I'm not a fanboy anymore. I was at one point, but not anymore. You know? Which of the three is the most trustworthy from your experience? Which of the three what? Which of the three sanctioning bodies or which of the three champions? Let's be honest. Nobody at 126 is fighting each other. I'm telling you why they're not fighting each other. You guys just aren't listening to me. You guys, everything I'm telling you guys, everything I'm trying to explain to you guys is going to make sense in about 2 to 3 months. You're going to say, oh, shit, I remember when BT said this and BT said that. It'll all make sense. Right now, it's not going to make any sense because you guys are just going to think that being biased or I'm talking out of my ass. No, I'm telling you guys what I know. The best thing that can happen, what I'll say is this. The best thing that can happen to that weight class is if Inoue and Junto have a close fight and rematch. Or if, like, Inoue gets knocked out. Something like that. Might be the best thing that happens. Speaking of Overton, who would you take between him and Najee if they were to fight? Oh, my God. That's a great fight. I love that fight. And I know both of them. Those are both my guys. If I got to pick, I'd probably hedge and I would go slightly towards Atif. I think he's a bit tighter defense. Defensively speaking, and he's just better. He's got more tools right now. But Najee's starting to close the gap a little bit. I heard Ball wants Leo in unification. Nah, I ain't heard that. Shit. If that's the case, shit, send some paperwork. We love I would love to. That's the one guy, man. I get disrespected when you guys say he's as good as Angelo. I'm honestly like disgusted. I'm disgusted to the deepest part of my soul when you say he's just as good as Angelo. He said no Inoue, so he called out Leo specifically. Did he? Send me the interview. I haven't seen it. I'll be honest, I haven't seen it. But if you can send me the interview, I'll go watch it. We love the ball fight. But does Frank Wong want the ball fight? You know, I came across this today, but I see where that Argentinian guy Marcos Escudero is fighting soon against TBA. What BoxRec says. Escudero is a good fighter. He gave Najee a good fight, and I remember him when he used to train in South Florida. Shinar Bunch is fighting Stalin Castillo. You think that's a good matchup? They already fought. They fought a couple months ago, and Shinar Bunch got waxed. He got destroyed. Keep it a buck, no bias. How do you think Leo would do at 130? I think he'd win a world title. I think he'd beat Sugar Nunez. I think he See who are the champs. I think stylistically he matches up really well with all the guys up there. All of them actually, yeah. Because 130 is weak. 130 is a weak ass weight class. I think he might fuck around and unify up there. Honestly, and I'm not even trying to be biased. I mean, I'm thinking. Let me see what you got. Foster. You got Foster. He's fighting Fulton. So if Fulton gets that belt, I mean, that'd be the toughest fight. If Fulton gets about, that's obviously the toughest fight because that's the only guy that's beaten Angelo. But other than Fulton, I mean, if we're talking about Navarrete, if we're talking those other guys that have belts, I'm not really too worried. I'm definitely not worried about Raymond Ford. So it's all right. Let me get a Sugar Nunez versus Leo. I got Nunez by close decision. That'd be a great fight. I like Nunez. Nunez is a big time puncher. You got to respect his pop. I think he showed in the Masanori Rikishi fight that he's a better boxer than he gets credit for. That's not an easy fight. So I don't think you're gonna be right, but that'd be a great fight. That'd be a fight like that. That's a fight I'd be a little more worried about than some of the guys that you guys keep saying that could beat Angelo. Who do you want to see Boots fight after Lima? Well, he has to beat Lima first. Let's not count our chickens before they hatch. I know he probably should beat Lima, but as we've seen in boxing many times, you overlook a guy, you think a guy ain't that good, and boom, now you find out Jerron Ennis ain't what we thought he was. So he has to take care of Lima. But if he can take care of Lima, Virgil Ortiz, I think he needs to go fight Virgil Ortiz because Virgil Ortiz has shown us that he don't want to fight no champions. He don't want to fight Bakram. He don't want to fight Xander. Okay, so if you don't want to fight Bakram, if you don't want to fight Xander, then y'all go ahead and fight each other. And that's a big fight anyway. That's the fight that they were saying they were going to do, right? So go ahead and make it happen. Matt Borgerson, again, shout out for the super chat. He says, Reddit boxing on Reddit are trash. They block everything. Yeah, I don't really go on Reddit no more. I used to go on Reddit like years ago, but I don't go on there no more. Sorry to hear that. He said the interview is on IFL from like 4 days ago. Okay, I'm gonna go watch it, and then what I'm gonna go do is I'm gonna go bring it. I'm gonna go because I was just talking to Angelo today actually about just some life stuff, and I'm gonna send it to him, and I'm gonna get his response and see what he says, and then we'll see what we can do. At some point, someone's gotta in the featherweight division has to grab it by the horns. So. Shit, why not us? Nick Ball. Y'all be talking too much about Nick Ball. Nah, man. Boots versus Barreau for the WB title. Virgil versus Pandora, third winner. He's not gonna fight Barreau. Get that out of your head. He's not fighting Barreau. Xander's getting Xander's eye is 100% getting the Abbas Barreau fight. It's already lined up. They did the whole face off. Xander's got more leverage because he's a champion. Boots is gonna have to wait. So in the meantime, fight Virgil Ortiz. But if he can get the Barreau fight somehow, then good because he needs to fight for a world title. I think Barreau is a good fighter, but I don't think he winds up. How about Hayato? Are you not worried about him? I don't worry about none of these fighters. I know how good Angelo Leo is. Hayato's a very good fighter. Like he's one of those guys. Like there's only a handful of guys that I'll put in the category of like, okay, this is a guy I really really take serious as a guy that could beat Angelo. He would be one of them. Hayato Tsutsumi will be one of them. Maybe I have to see more of him. Maybe a guy like Zoltan Zarbak could give some problems because he can punch a little bit, but he's got that really robotic style that the Central Asian fighters have sometimes, so he'll get cooked. So, but yeah, Hayato's really good. No, I'm telling you, Sebastian. Like, I'm not even trying to hate, like, because you guys know, like, if Turkey's out here putting on good shows or Al Heyman or whoever, I give the promoters the just due. I give everybody the just due. But like, guys, I've been a boxing fan my entire life, and this is my 10th year covering boxing on YouTube. I'm telling you guys, as someone who has a good memory of what fourth quarters in boxing I normally like from having to cover this shit every single day for the last 10 years. This is the slowest boxing has ever been going into the fourth quarter of any single year. And I'm telling you guys why that is. A lot of people don't want to hear it because it's coming from me. And they say, well, BT, you're the turkey hater and you're this and you're that. And but I ain't telling no lies. Go look at the schedule. Apart from Norman versus Haney and that card on November 22nd, and maybe Parker Wardley. Fulton Foster. Like there's like a couple fights, but like it's a very very slow schedule. BT, what do you think Leo's? What do you think would be Leo's cap at weight? Do you think he would stay at 130 or move to 135? I would probably say 130, but with way boxing is, if the right guy was there at 135, kind of like Crawford with Canelo, his team saw something in Canelo, and so he's not gonna, he wasn't gonna fight Dan Morrell or Benavidez, but they saw something in Canelo where they thought, you know what, stylistically, that's the right guy for us to take this calculated risk. I would say 130, but if the right guy had the title at 35, like stylistically, measurables wise, I would say 35, but I'll probably say 30. BT, do you think that Gary Anton Russell fight is do or die for Andy Hiraoka? Yes, I do, because Andy Hiraoka is not a priority to the Japanese promoters. Let's call a spade a spade. Sure, he's promoted by Ohashi. Sure, he's gonna fight on a big card on the Jake Paul card. But look how long it took for him to get a fight. They don't have that kind of control in these weight classes like they do in the other weight classes. And I don't really think they care about Andy Hiraoka the way they do other fighters. I feel like Andy doesn't get the treatment that any other top Japanese 140-pounder would get, because even though he grew up in Japan, he doesn't, he's not like, he doesn't look like a traditional Japanese person. He looks a little gaijin. He looks like a foreigner a little bit. So that's what I think. That's my opinion. But I do think it is. It shouldn't be, but it is. Ohashi has done Andy Hiraoka dirty. He should have been fighting at Willow a while ago, and they have kept him so inactive. They have. They really kept him really, really inactive. And look, it's not like they could. If worst comes to worst, they have enough money and they have enough control in Japan to where they could have went ahead and we'll pivot into the next talking point. They have enough control and money and influence to where if you couldn't get Andy Hiraoka. If you couldn't get Andy Hiraoka a fight against somebody in the top 15, man, they could have scraped the bottom of the barrel and fought, some guy that was like, 30th or 40th in the world and paid him to come to Japan. They could have did that. They didn't even do that for Andy Hiraoka because they didn't want to risk his ranking position. But see, like look where he's going. Look at where he's at now. Do I think he can still beat Gary Anton Russell? Yes, I do think he can beat Gary Anton Russell, and I'm actually going to pick him. But you're putting Andy Hiraoka at a disadvantage because now he's going into a fight against a really good fighter, off of your layoff. And I just think, like, look, they don't care about him. Now, I'm gonna tell y'all this. I'm gonna keep it a spade, because people think that just because it's Japan that I just be dick riding everything that goes on with Japanese boxing, and nothing can be further from the truth. I'll say it like this, guys. If Jin Sasaki, let's just say Jin Sasaki had the same career as Andy Hiraoka. We'll just pretend that Jin Sasaki didn't lose to Andy Hiraoka, and let's just say he's the undefeated guy that's knocking everybody out, that's knocking on the door of a world title shot at 140. If Jin Sasaki was in this position, I can guarantee you guys, they would not let Jin Sasaki go into a world title fight off a year layoff. Not a chance. Why? Because he's actually Japanese. Like Andy's Japanese too, but like his dad's part African. He don't look like I'm just telling y'all what I think. Like, and I'm not the kind of person to play the race card, but like, what other reason can you give for not keeping Andy Hiraoka busy? He ticks the boxes. He's a very good fighter. He gets knockouts. There's no excuse. That's the only thing I can rationalize, is that he's just not, he don't look like all the rest of the Japanese fighters. So they don't care about him like that. That's really what I believe. Let me see. Yeah, I read that one already. Do I think that Jesse Hart can upset Khalil Cole? That's a good question, man. Jesse Hart's on back nine for sure. That fight will be won and lost by the jab. You know, Jesse Hart has a good jab. He has a long-rangey frame. But Jesse Hart's problem is that Jesse Hart gets really tall. When he's exchanging, he gets really tall in the pocket. Hopefully he's, correct that a little bit, because if not, Khalil Cole is going to chop him up. Khalil Cole has a very, very good jab. He can upset Khalil Cole. He has the experience to do so. He even has the skill set to do so. But, Jesse Hart, I don't know, man. I'm going to go with Khalil Cole. I think Khalil Cole will get him. BT No Cap MVP has been putting on better cards than these bigger promotions. Like, when was the last time we got a good PBC card? Excluding, let me see, the last good. I'm trying to remember what fights were on the undercard of the Pacquiao Barrios fight. Pacquiao Barrios, for some reason, I feel like that might have been a good card. When I remember the undercard, main event was whatever, because it's Pacquiao versus Barrios. But like a really good PBC card. Shit, it's been a little minute. Where's Hiro at? Hiro could tell you. He's a PBC expert. Have you seen the video of Casemiro sparring? He looks slow and out of shape. Do you think he'll miss weight again? Very possible. He looks very, 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 very possible. Like Casemiro hasn't been a serious fighter for a lot of years, and that's why he's fighting Kiyunosuke Kameda, who's not really like a world level fighter. He's a domestic level Japanese fighter. Could be a good fight stylistically, but Casemiro's best days are definitely behind him. Hey, BT, when was the last time you saw one of your favorite fighters get the daylights knocked out of them? I'm just curious. One of my favorite fighters? Let me see. Because Angelo's never been knocked out. Yugo Osaki's never been knocked out. Ken Shure got knocked out, but that was 4 years ago. Inoue has been knocked out. The daylights knocked? Because you said daylights. You're talking about knockout of the year type stuff? I don't know, man. See, I don't like fighters that are soft. Fighters that I like tend to be durable. So a lot of the guys I like don't really get stopped. Philip Hergovich got stopped, but that was on cuts and he got stopped standing up, so that don't really count. If you're talking about you know what? Jin Suzuki. Jin Suzuki got knocked out against Brian Norman Jr. How about that one? We'll go with that one because Jin Suzuki is one of my favorite fighters. But Brian Norman Jr. is also one of my favorite fighters. So yeah, win-win for me, I guess. But yeah, Jin Suzuki back in June. Yeah, Jin got sent to the shadow realm. It's bad. Jin's Kiyunosuke Kameda is fighting names despite being a regional fighter, which is fair enough. Listen, to be fair to him, he's probably not getting paid a lot of money, and he's stepping up to the plate and taking these fights, so you got to give him respect. You know what's going to wind up happening? I'm going to tell you guys what's going to happen to Kiyunosuke Kameda. He's fighting these guys like Neri. He just fought Picasso. Now he's fighting Casemiro. He's getting a lot of good experience. He's not as good as his brothers or as his cousins. He's getting a lot of experience in the ring and learning on the job. He's gonna wind up beating Casemiro, and he's gonna get another big fight after this. Watch. That's what I'm saying. We do the knocking the daylights over here. The only guy that's been knocked out that I was a big fan of is Jin Suzuki, but he got knocked out by another one, by one of my favorite fighters in Brian Norman. So it was a win-win for me. That's messed up, man. They should. I still think he's one of the better welterweights out there as far as the contenders. I think he would stop Lewis Crocker if they fought, but it is what it is. He got to work his way back up. So we'll see if we can. But anyway, as far as the rest of my talking points, getting back to Gary Antuanne and Andy Hiraoka, this is a great fight, guys. To me, it's one of the top 3 best fights remaining on the schedule this year because Gary is champion, and a lot of people were picking Ryan Valenzuela to beat him. Not me, but a lot of people were. But he's not Ryan Valenzuela is a he's not a big 140 pounder. He's more of a lightweight that became champion 140. Andy Hiraoka is a full-fledged, hard-punching 140-pounder, and he's a fellow southpaw, and he's got good legs on him, and he can punch. So I think this is a harder fight than people realize. Like, a lot of people are saying, like, who is Andy Hiraoka fought? Andy Hiroka's not good. I see this as damn near, if you don't want to call it a pick'em fight, fine. You could say it's a 55-45 fight in favor of Gary Anton Russell, but it's a close fight. It's one of them fights. So I'm excited about it. It's gonna be in Miami. A lot of people keep asking me. They say, "BT, are you gonna be in Miami for Jake Paul versus Tank?" And the answer to that is a resounding hell no. I'm not. I'm not gonna be in Florida again, probably until the WBA convention. I'm gonna be going to the WBA convention in mid-December. You know, and we're gonna go shake some hands, kiss some babies, and get to the bottom of some things, because there's a lot of fighters that I need to go make some things happen for, because, you know, boxing's a cool, cold game. But in other news, guys, as you guys can also see in the talking points, you know, they did make a big fight in Japan recently. They made Tenshin Nasukawa versus Takuma Inoue, and man, you know, it was a fight that I knew was a big fight because, you know, obviously Tenshin's a megastar from his days from kickboxing. You know, Takuma is Inoue's brother. He's a former world champion in his own right. And they are fighting for the now vacant WBC bantamweight title. So it's an important fight. And it has a different feeling to it. Like, you know, I'm on Twitter a lot, and I follow a lot of the Japanese boxing community on Twitter. So when these fights get announced in Japan, I can get a feel for what the buzz is like over there in Japan without having to be there. And I gotta say, man, I haven't seen a fight like this. I haven't seen any fight in Japan really get attention like this probably since Brian Nolan versus Jin Sasaki. It has a different level of intensity to it in the buildup amongst the fans. You got a lot of fans in Japan that want to see Takuma Inoue win, because Takuma Inoue has very much been in the shadow of his brother, because his brother is the face of Japanese boxing. He's the golden boy of Japanese boxing, Naoya Inoue. So it's a big shadow that, you know, it's a big shadow to live under, and he's looked at as Naoya Inoue's brother. But the great thing about this fight from the Takuma standpoint of things is that if he can go on there, if he can win, if he can defeat Tenshin Nasukawa to become a two-time champion, you know, with Tenshin being the name he is in Japan and around the world, this is going to allow Takuma Inoue you know, just for a little bit to kind of, you know, have his own identity, not just be Inoue's brother. Because remember, when he won the world title the first time, he won the world title because Naoya Inoue vacated the bantamweight title, and then he got a very favorable matchup against the old Liborio Solis. Now, he's going into this Tenshin Nasukawa fight roughly as a 4 or 5-1 underdog. A lot of people think he's gonna lose the fight. I think he's gonna get destroyed. I think Takuma Inoue is gonna get the shit beaten out of him in this fight. He can't beat Tenshin. That's how I feel. I feel like Tenshin is he's too athletic for him. His boxing skills have graduated to the point where, you know, I don't think Takuma is gonna be able to use his experience to outsmart him at this point in his career. 2 fights ago, maybe, but not now. And on top of that, Takuma Inoue is not punching like that. So a lot of people want to see him win, and I'll be honest with you, the media over there is making it kind of like a whole like Inoue family versus Tenshin thing. Listen, he may be the brother of Naoya Inoue, but he is not Naoya Inoue. Tenshin's gonna beat the brakes off of Takuma. So I'm excited for it, and I'm excited to see how Takuma does in this fight, because look, his last fight, he hasn't fought in a year. He hasn't fought since he got the brakes beaten off of him against Seiya Tsutsumi. And remember, I told you guys that was going to happen to him. When a lot of people in boxing weren't checking for Seiya Tsutsumi and didn't know who he was, I told you that Takuma was going to get the piss beaten out of him by Seiya Tsutsumi, and that happened. And he hasn't fought since then. So, you know, Tsutsumi is a pressure fighter. He stays on top of you the whole fight. He's going to be in your chest the whole fight. He doesn't have the foot speed of a guy like Tenshin. So it's a different challenge for Takuma. This might actually be a better matchup for Takuma, only because of the fact that it's not a physical guy. If you look at the guys that he's lost to in his career, Nordino Bali and Seiya Tsutsumi, the one common thing they had, both going for them in their careers, style-wise,
is that they were real physical fighters. They get on top of you, they muscle you around. Tenshin is not like that. Tenshin likes to use his leg. He pivots, reverse pivots, sidesteps you. Just very good angles. Mid-range fighter, explosive mid-range, explosive on the outside, a lot of athleticism. That right there makes it a more winnable fight for Takuma. But I still don't see. I don't think he's gonna beat him. I don't. I think people are trying to. I think a lot of the fans in Japan are overrating Takuma Inoue, and I'm tired of it. So I'm hoping for that reason. I hope Tenshin beats the brakes off of him. Anyway, let me go ahead and go through these comments. Let me see. Jin Sasaki was calling out Manny Pacquiao. He did not look good against Norman. They were, believe it or not, I'm telling you, y'all won't believe me, but behind closed doors, that fight was being negotiated between Ohashi and some of Pacquiao's people. Obviously, Sasaki had to beat Norman and Pacquiao had to beat Barrios, and neither of those things happened. But that was a fight that the boxing industry wanted to make. It was being negotiated back in May. BT Eddie Hearn is about to hire Lewis Cocker for any dangerous fighters. Liam Paro beats him. That's a fight that he'd probably do. Eddie Hearn versus Paro versus Crocker. Sounds like an Eddie Hearn fight. And Liam Paro, he didn't light the world on fire his last fight. He fought Dave Papo. He was getting his ass kicked early on. I don't know, man. That sounds like the kind of fight Eddie Hearn will make. Let me see. Najee Lopez is better than those two guys you mentioned. Which two guys? If Tenshin had some power, he'd be so dangerous. I mean, he's got more power than Takuma. I don't think he's pillow-fisted. Like I don't think he's not punching like a Seiya Tsutsumi or a Junto, but he's not feather-fisted now. Tenshin's got quickness, and in boxing, your speed is your power. He's got speed. Ooh, that would be a fight. That would be a fight. Seiya Tsutsumi versus Christian Medina. Wow. That's the Japan-Mexico fight we need. Turkey Al-Sheikh really want to be useful. That's the fight he needs to go make. Not all this other nonsense. I saw in the press conference that Nazakawa is really confident, and I think he should probably beat Takuma. He has a lot of flaws. Now, in a way, can't fight for him. No, he can't. That he can't. I think Tenshin's too good for him at this point. Could Tenshin go undisputed with Nakatani gone? I don't think he'll beat Seiya Tsutsumi. That'd be a good fight, but I think Seiya Tsutsumi will beat him. Tenshin got that invaluable experience versus Floyd Mayweather. Well, we joke around about it in the States, but to be fair to Tenshin, he fought on the highest level. He fought on the highest level. What did Edgar Berlanga say when he fought Canelo? I fought a legend. He fought a legend. Got his ass whooped, but he fought a legend. I see Lopez maybe winning a title or being a contender with Whitaker. I think that'd be a good fight. Najee Lopez versus Ben. Give me cheap spots by KO over Tsutsumi. Listen. I wouldn't even have a rooting interest in that fight. I would just may the best man win. That's just one of those fights where you're happy it just happens because like there's certain fights and matchups where that it's gonna deliver on entertainment value and excitement. That's one of them. That's one of them fights where you're gonna get something. BT asked for Sebastian Fundora versus Brock Jarvis. Why? I don't want to get Brock killed. Why do you guys want to hurt poor Brock Jarvis? What did Brock Jarvis ever do to you guys? Tenshin Nazakawa might be able to become the greatest sports fighter ever if he beats Takuma, undefeated champion in kickboxing and then an undefeated champion in boxing. Yeah, man. And I always tell the story when I talk about Tenshin. I'll tell it again. I'll never forget this. Like, I'm gonna say it was like 2 or 3 years ago. I asked my boy. I asked Angelo one day. I was like, Angelo, because Angelo Leo was sparred about like 3 or 4. I didn't be 5. He sparred a lot of Japanese fighters. And I asked Angelo. I said, "Who's the best Japanese fighter you sparred?" And to my surprise, he said Tenshin. He said Tenshin was the best Japanese fighter he sparred. And at this time, I think Tenshin was like maybe 2-0 or 1-0. And I laughed. And I asked him, I said, why? Why is Tenshin the best fighter you sparred from Japan? And he said the reason he's the best fighter from Japan that he sparred is because Tenshin has very good timing. He's a really good counterpuncher. You wouldn't think of him as being a guy who has good timing, but his timing surprised Angelo. So ever since then, I took Tenshin serious, and I ain't never seen him yet. I haven't seen Tenshin get worse yet since he told me that. BT, do you plan on going to any other countries and exploring and getting their boxing talent put there more to the box more like you did for Japan and Japanese fighters? Yes. I don't know when or where that next country will be, but see, the thing with Japan is like it's a special. Japan is special to me because I had a big curiosity with Japanese boxing because it wasn't really getting shown here a lot 10 years ago on TV, and Shinsuke Yamanaka was on the pound list, but I didn't know who the hell he was. So it was my curiosity that led me to Japan. But of course, one of the places I really want to go to, one of my biggest dreams, believe it or not, is I really want to go to Africa. I want to go to Africa. I want to go to like Ghana and South Africa and all these different countries, and I want to really see what the boxing culture is like there, and shine a light on maybe some of the fighters over there. Shout out to my guy Norman Haney, November 2022. He says, Floss versus Tiger prediction. I think Floss KOs him easy. That's a good question, man. I think Tiger's a bit stronger now at 47 than he was at 40. I wouldn't say it's easy. I wouldn't say he gets him easy. I think Tiger can take him the distance. And then I'll tell you this: if Tiger can take him the distance, I think his chances of winning go up exponentially. Floss is on a good winning streak, and I give him his credit for rebuilding his career and getting to where he's at now. And he's definitely one of the better Puerto Rican fighters out there. However, if we're talking about the fighter who fought at a higher level as far as pedigree and skills, that guy is not Nicholas Floss. That guy is Tiger Johnson. So I'm actually gonna go. I'm gonna go with Tiger Johnson by decision. I don't think it's gonna be an easy fight for Nicholas Floss. I think it's gonna be a hard fight for Nicholas Floss, to be honest with you. But wouldn't shock me if he knocked him out. Have you seen the arm boxing champion in that Nigeria called Dembe? I don't know. I'm not sure if I have. I don't think I have. What are my top 3 Japanese gyms that I've been to? Great question. Hachiochi Nikaya Boxing Gym is up there. I really enjoyed my one visit to the Kurashiki Moriatsu Boxing Gym. That's where Seigo Yuri Okui trains. Misako Boxing Gym is world class, one of the best gyms in the world. Watanabe Boxing Gym is great. Knockout Punch Boxing and Fitness is an underrated gym. That was a good one. Tenshin Boxing Gym in Osaka, where Yugo Osaki trains at when he's over there. That's a great gym. There's a lot of them, man. I don't know if I can pick a top 3, but those are some of the great gyms in Japan that come to mind when I think about my time there. And I've been to like 17 boxing gyms in Japan, about roughly 17. So it's a lot to pick from. Someone asked me about Terence Crawford and the police, and they said, yeah, that's your 4 talking point, Terence Crawford and the police. So you guys want me to talk about Terence Crawford and the police because somebody had asked me, did I hear about Crawford getting held at gunpoint by the officer in Omaha? And of course, yes, of course. How could I not hear about it? It's one of the biggest stories in boxing. Listen, man, what's my opinion on it? I don't really have an opinion. I mean, shit happens. from what I've read, everybody in the car had a concealed license to carry. And it's probably just a case of a hating-ass cop. And we have those all over the states, you know. Luckily for Terence Crawford, because, you know, we've seen it many times with all over the world, all over America. We've seen it where sometimes, you know, you can plow out the officer sometimes, and sometimes these officers, they get out of pocket. You know, you can do everything they're telling you to, everything that they're telling you to do, and they still might shoot your ass. So thankfully he didn't escalate the situation, because, you know, sometimes with the wrong cops, things get out of hand real quickly. But yeah, it's something to see that, because it's supposed to be a celebration. It's supposed to be his day, and, you know, you still get a gun held at you. You know what? It's fucked up, but what you gonna do? Like, it happens. They said, yo, y'all are crazy. You said Crawford lost his O to the pigs. Yeah, man, it is what it is. I've been I have so many friends in my life and people I know and that have had problems with the cops. I've been very fortunate to never have any problems with the cops, and I'm gonna try to keep that. They basically box one arm instead of using gloves. They tie a rope around nylon around the arm. It's pretty rudimentary, but they try and. I'd never seen that before. That sounds crazy. That sounds about as crazy as the professional pillow fighting league. Tenshin Nasukawa is about to have the same amount of champs beaten as Boots if he beats Takuma. That really shows how inflated Jerron Ennis' record is. Yeah, I mean, Tenshin Nasukawa is moving. He's moving more aggressively than a lot of your fair fighters, believe it or not. It's crazy. Tiger was running from Janelson Figueroa. Well, I think Tiger knows what he's up against in this fight. He knows that, because believe it or not, like, it's crazy what's happening with Top Rank. Like, I know Pro Box says that they have 50-50 fights and they don't promote boxers, they promote boxing and all that blase. But let's be real. Pro Box as of right now in September going into October 2025 is not the same Pro Box that I discovered when I started covering their fights back in, February of 2022. It's different now. They're trying to be a competitor in the market. So, yes, with certain fighters on Pro Box, there are A-sides, and Nicholas Floss is one of them. So, Tiger Johnson, an Olympian top-ranked fighter, is being sent to fight Nicholas Floss as a B-side. So, I think he knows this. I think he's going to give the best he can. And I think the best Tiger Johnson, if he shows up, is good enough to beat Nicholas Floss. Even though Nicholas Floss has been in a good run of form, and I'm happy for him. What would you ever do? Would you ever do a no reservation type show where you visit lesser not countries and you hang out with them and live in their culture for a bit if you had the funding? Yeah, I would do all that shit. You know, everything's money. There's all kinds of things I would do if I had more money, but right now that is not the case. BT, do you think there's a chance Nakano gets the Rafael Espinoza fight? No, absolutely not. Hell no. Zanford Promotions won't touch him with a 10-foot pole. Did you hear about the Saudis buying EA Sports? I did. Yeah, the Saudis buying up America's for sale, and Saudis just buying up all of American culture. You know, soon America ain't gonna have no damn culture because Saudis buying it all up. They're gonna destroy everything. Shout out to my guy Julius with the super chat. He says Crawford says 3 more fights. Who will he fight? Well, I don't think he's got 3 more fights left, but let's just say he does have 3 more fights left. I think one of those fights is gonna have to be an easy fight. So I've joked around about it, but I'm dead serious. I think Terence Crawford to troll Jerron Ennis should fight Usima Lima right after Boots beats Lima. Crawford should fight him, and God forbid Lima actually goes ahead and beats Boots, because then he should really go fight Lima. But we'll say Lima. We'll say Janibek. And maybe I don't know, maybe Boots, maybe Virgil. I don't know. I don't think he's fighting 3 more times. And if he fights 3 more times, I don't think he's gonna fight these guys like Virgil or Boots, these young killers who are really good, but don't really bring the money to the table. This guy just made a gazillion dollars fighting Canelo Alvarez. Like, he's already experienced in his last 3 fights 3 significant bumps in pay grade. I don't think he's going to take a step back to fight those guys. I'm just being honest with you. Unless Turkey puts the money up and really wants to see those fights. Are we still getting the cooking videos of the fight week of Boots? Oh, you still remember that? You talking about me making Angolan food? I might gotta do that. I'm still gonna be here in the Bay Area. I gotta buy some. I gotta buy some Angolan food, mate. I gotta buy the ingredients. I gotta buy the spices. I gotta do my homework. Crawford versus Hamza. That's a fight that I can see Turkey putting up the money for, because we all know Hamza Shiraz is like the golden boy every season. So that's in play. What about Crawford versus Berlanga? Omaha versus Angola. The new rivalry. Yes, guys, get fired up, man. Get fired up. We less than 2 weeks away from the new rivalry in boxing. Forget Yankees, Red Sox. Forget Edmonton Oilers, Florida Panthers. Forget, North Carolina versus Duke. Forget that. Forget Stone Cold Steve Austin versus the Rock. This is the real rivalry in sports. Yes. I heard Turkey is already planning Devin Haney's next fight in a few weeks back. Devin Haney took a picture of Ryan Garcia. He was next. He was next, looking ahead before your hardest fight is bad. Well, look, man. I think Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney is going to be an awesome fight. It's going to be a crossroads fight. You got Ryan Garcia coming off a loss to Rolly. You're going to have Devin Haney coming off of a devastating knockout loss to Brian Norman Jr. So it's going to be like a loser leaves town type of fight. So I ain't against it. I'm gonna. He said, "Y'all are crazy." He said, "I'm gonna throw something on the grill for the Philly versus Angola event." You should. Maybe we'll make some Philly cheesesteaks too while we're at it. They got a little Philly cheesesteak place up the block here in the Bay Area. I don't know if it's any good, but maybe I'll go live and we'll order some Philly cheesesteaks. How people believe Norman is smoke? I think Brian Norman's going to beat the brakes off Devin Haney. Haney is going to get smoked by Norman. Why do people have hope for Haney? They think because Devin Haney barely beat Lomachenko, who turned pro as a featherweight. They think that because of the names he's fought, that somehow gives him some sort of superiority over a guy who's actually bigger, longer, and stronger than him in the boxing ring. It doesn't, and he better take this 150% serious, because if he's not taking it serious, he's going to end up like Jin Sasaki, and maybe even worse. BT, you crazy if Norman stopping Haney. Haney is way too skilled and athletic. Haney's not as skilled as a lot of you guys keep going around about Haney's skills. Haney's not as skilled as people give him credit for. Haney's athletic and he's big for his size, but in terms of skills, his skills are not what you guys think they are. It's been proven time and time again. How many times does the guy get proven to you guys? If you watch the Linares fight enough times, or once, just go back and watch Linares fight. That's probably one of his best and most skillful fights. He's getting clipped left and right in that fight. He's got bad habits that he never ever got exposed really until he fought Linares and Ryan. And this is gonna end 7 rounds or less. And it wouldn't shock me at all if it ends faster than Jin Sasaki did. Don't let Haney get stopped quicker than Jin Sasaki, because y'all was talking crazy about Jin Sasaki. How was Haney able to beat Loma? I don't think he really beat Loma. I thought it was a close fight. I thought Loma beat him, but he was able to beat Loma because he was big. He's bigger than Loma, and he sat down on his punches, and the body work, I guess, gave him the edge. That was the one fight in boxing where judges actually value body work, because judges these days, especially, they get really selective of when they value body work and body shots. And I guess on that particular night, in that particular fight, that's when they decided they wanted to value body work. But this ain't like, I know Lomachenko was he had a better career than Norman. He's a more skilled fighter than Norman, all that blase, but it's a different type of fight. Devin is getting hurt. Definitely probably worse. I think Sasaki got better punch resistance and grit. Yeah, Jin is crazy. Jin Sasaki is crazy. Go back and watch that fight. When Brian was hitting Jin upside his head, Jin was like, yeah. And he was asking him for more. Like, he's crazy. That's why I told you. And the thing is, I knew Jin was like that. That's why if you go back and you watch the lives of me talking about the fight going in, I said, guys, if Brian Nolan wants to win this fight, he has to literally put Jin on a stretcher. And that's what he did. And that's why he won. And I wasn't saying that to sound like hyperbolic or exaggerate. I'm just telling y'all the truth. Janibek is one of the most disrespected boxers around. How? I don't think he's disrespected. I feel like people know Janibek is good. I feel like people know Janibek is good. Everyone knows he's good. People are just waiting to see him in a fight of significance. Now, some of that's not his fault because his division sucks. And a lot of the times when he was in position to fight big fights, like against Andre Munguia, these guys didn't want to fight him. So that part is not his fault. But what I will say about Janibek, what I think is his fault is that they don't go to 168. There's plenty of smoke at 168 up there for him. You know, at one particular point, you had Benavidez. You got Christian and Billy. You got Lester Martinez. You got Pacheco. You got all kinds of guys up there at 168. But do you hear, I guess, Klimas and Janibek saying they want to go 168? No, because they know it's difficult. Norman's feet are slow. Haney is going to box circles around Norman for 12 rounds and get a UD. That is not what's going to happen. And Norman's feet aren't as slow as you think. You're going to see. The fight is ending inside 7 rounds. And Devin and anybody who likes Devin Haney, I want you guys to really take this fight in. Like, please enjoy it. It's going to be his last world title fight. He's never fighting for a world title again after this fight. That's how bad he's about to get beat up in this fight. Because you're talking about his athleticism, how fast he is. Brian Norman Jr. is the most athletic fighter Devin Haney's fought in his entire career. He's not Devin. What? I mean, the only athletic fighters Devin Haney's fought in his career. Let's be honest here for a second. Was what? Ryan Garcia and Lomachenko. He struggled. He got absolutely annihilated in one of those fights, right, against Ryan. Even if Ryan was on, he was on steroids, but like, whatever. There's problems in that fight that he had back when he fought Linares, when he wasn't on, and Linares was on steroids. What was his name? Lomachenko, another guy athletic. Very, very, very highly questionable if he won that fight. He got the decision, so we'll respect the decision. But I'm just saying, like, Devin isn't the most athletic guy himself, and he's been a guy that's made his career off of beating guys that were less athletic than him. But we'll see. I've said it. Look, I've said it. If Devin Haney beats Brian Norman Jr., this is the fight that I feel like should put him in the Hall of Fame, because you're finally fighting someone that's bigger, stronger, younger than you in your third weight class, trying to become a champion in your third weight class. This is the kind of fight that could really build a case for the Hall of Fame, because of when he's fighting Brian Norman Jr. People kill me with the slow piece stuff. At the end of the day, Norman has a longer reach, and if Devin wants to get anything off, he's got to be in punch range. And Norman is an elite counterpuncher. He is. He's an elite counterpuncher. And the thing about Norman is he's not a repetitious puncher. If you look at all of his knockouts, if you look at all of his fights, he's not knocking guys out the same way every fight. When he fought Cuevas, he knocked him out with a jab. When he fought Zaki, he knocked him out with a counter left hook. When he fought Santillan, he knocked him out with a right uppercut. It was like a right, like 90-degree hybrid uppercut coming off of the left uppercut. So, the punch that I think is going to knock Devin Haney out in this fight is going to be the straight right hand down the middle. He's going to get hit with the right hand down the middle, because they're going to game plan away for the left hook. He's going to be holding the phone a lot, and it's going to open the middle over and over and over again. Ryan actually has mid feet, and he was able to track Devin down and set him up for shots, and Norman do better. Yeah, well, Ryan, when I say Ryan is an athletic fighter, I'm not really speaking so much about his feet. I'm talking about more so his explosiveness and his ability and the quick twitch muscles he has. That gave Devin problems. It gave him problems in that fight. It gave him problems in the amateurs. So he ain't fought that many athletic fighters his whole career. George Kambosos is not an athletic fighter. Regis Prograis, at the point he fought him, was no longer really an athletic fighter. Bro, he went life and death with a domestic level UK fighter. He sucks. Who are you talking about? Orion? Yep, BT. He's gonna throw that right hand right over Devin. He is. And people are forgetting that Brian Norman got a power jab of his own that's getting better fight by fight by fight. I'm really excited for that fight because I've had to sit here. You guys have no idea how disrespectful I want to go on Twitter. I gotta delete tweets that I type up sometimes disrespecting these Devin Haney fans because man, I just see so much stupidity. But don't worry. After November 22nd, I'm gonna be doing a lot of talking. Devin is better than you're giving him credit for. He's a good fighter. I'm not saying he's not good. Like I recognize him for what he is. Devin Haney is a fighter who's got speed. He's perfected throwing the 1-2 down the middle. He has enough dog to hang on the inside with certain fighters. Like I think he's a slightly better fighter in the pocket than people want to give him credit for. I think his feet are overrated. I think his jab is vastly overrated. But he's mastered on the 1-2. And for fighting at weight class like 135 or 140, he was a longer, rangier guy. He's not really good when he fights guys his own size. That's been proven many times. And the one thing that will always give Devin Haney problems, no matter how much he trains and works on his skills, is going to be counterpunchers. Linares getting problems because Linares is a counterpuncher. He played the role of that when they fought. Ryan was the counterpuncher. Lomachenko, I wouldn't classify Lomachenko as a counterpuncher, but he can be at times. You used to watch that fight. So Brian Norman can counterpunch. That's one thing he has shown. You can say, he hasn't fought this guy, he hasn't fought that guy, but in the fights where he has shown and got to this level to become champion, he's shown he can counterpunch. So we'll see. It's a good fight. It's a good fight for the sport. Probably the most significant fight remaining in boxing. I'm not a Devin Haney fan, but I'm a Bill Haney fan. He rules. Hey, and I've always told y'all, I've always given Bill Haney his flowers as a manager. He's one of the best managers in boxing, and I really respect him. Like, I have a manager's mind, and I look at boxing oftentimes through the scope of a manager because that's something that I really want to get into. And in the coming months, you guys should hear some things about that. But I've respected him a lot as a manager. He's the guy that told Crawford to fight Canelo, and look what happened. So he knows. Bill knows boxing. But I don't think this is a fight that Bill would have taken if Bill had the final say. I think Turkey is making him take this fight. If Norman gets the knockout, he can start building for the face of boxing. And fighters change and people change over time. But if there's one guy in America I'm rooting for to become the face of boxing, it's Brian Norman Jr. He has been a breath of fresh air to boxing in America amongst the American fighters. And I even told him that. I told him that in Japan. I said, look, man, I go to a lot of these media days. Thank you for actually doing an honest media workout because this shit is tiresome and very unenjoyable. But you actually came here and you gave the Japanese public a great media workout, and you actually seem to care about this sport. So I'm rooting for him. They definitely messed up when they got that list with Norman on it. Turkey pulled their card and cornered them. Yeah, they shouldn't have did that. They said Turkey said, Norman, the guy that just got the big viral knockout, and they said, okay, we do what did Turkey say? He said, we do the big fight between the Norman and Haney, and we do it in Riyadh. We will do it in Riyadh. Y'all know how he talks. That's what I'm saying. Like, he has the it factor. Like, sometimes if you close your eyes and you listen to Brian Norman Jr. talk, sometimes he sounds like Roy Jones Jr. because he's got that southern drawl. He's got that southern accent, you know. But I'm excited for that fight. You know, if Devin Haney wins, wow. Honestly, you guys this might sound like I'm hating, but this is me telling the truth. This is actually the first time in Devin Haney's career I'm excited for a Devin Haney fight, because I wasn't excited for the Ryan fight because I told you guys that I thought that fight was going to be some bullshit because, Ryan Garcia, Ryan Garcia is not to be taken serious. That's why my prediction for that fight, if you guys remember, I predicted Devin Haney to beat Ryan Garcia by disqualification. That was my prediction. And it was the most accurate prediction in boxing media because nobody else had Devin Haney winning by disqualification, and it was no contest, and Devin got his old back. So that's the closest thing to disqualification. So it was the most accurate prediction of that fight in boxing media. Lomachenko, I didn't really care about that fight because I felt like Devin Haney should have went right through Lomachenko, honestly, because he's a bigger, younger guy. And I remember at that time I was getting back from Japan for the first time, so I was too tired to care. So I just watched it and I was like, wow, Devin really let this like featherweight push him around like that? Like, that's crazy. So this is actually the first time I can hand on heart really be honest with you guys and say I'm really excited for a Devin Haney fight. Yo, that Turkey impression is not bad. I listen to him enough. You know, you watch enough of these damn interviews, you start picking up some things. Ryan ruined it with that buildup. The buildup was cringe. The build was cringe. The build was cringe to a degree, but I enjoyed it, you know. But I knew that Ryan was probably on something or wasn't right. You know, something was off. And I had people ask me to cover that fight. Like a lot of people were like, BT, why don't you go cover the fight? There was beautiful women in New York that wanted to chill with your boy BT. I'm like, nah, man, I don't want to go see that bullshit. I'll stay in South Florida. And that's what I did. I went live for the fight in South Florida. Norman's accent sounds excessive, like he's trying to sound like that. I think he's corny as no, that's how he talks. Listen, trust me. I've got friends in Georgia, I got friends in North Carolina, South Carolina, Louisiana. I'm telling y'all, when you go to the Southern Belt, Mississippi, them places, it does, like, if you're not from them places, it sounds excessive. People actually talk like that. We will do the big fight in Riyadh. I mean, it was funny at the time because I was a big Ryan fan and thought that was his chance to prove himself to the boxing world, but he showed he don't care about legacy for real. Yeah, I mean, Ryan, why should he? Right? Why should Ryan care? Hold on. Hello? 1 second, guys. All right, I'm back. Why should Ryan care about, legacy? This is the same Ryan Garcia as I remove these empty water bottles from the background. This is the same Ryan Garcia who had a Gatorade endorsement deal before he even beat Luke Campbell. This is the same Ryan Garcia that was getting bitches pregnant when he was a prospect, like going crazy. Like, he doesn't have any reason to care about boxing. Like, he was getting celebrity treatment. Like, the other day, guys, I don't know if you guys know. I don't know if any of you guys watch these like kick streamers, but there's this one streamer named Oblivion. He's like a big time streamer on Kick. I don't really watch him. I don't watch those guys, but I watched one of his streams recently because he actually had Angelo Leo on there, and he was there training with Angelo in the gym. So I watched it, and
Oblivion thought that Ryan Garcia was a champion. So people that don't know shit about boxing, because Ryan is so hyped up, they think he's a world champion, and he's not. So it's like he was getting treated like he was a champion in the face of boxing before he had ever done anything to prove it. So when it came time to actually prove it, he was like, "Why?" He just wants the fame and notoriety. I look at him like my favorite UFC fighters now might not be the best, but a character in the sport, and they can make an entertaining fight. Yeah, that's all it is with him. Is your boy still fighting this weekend? No. Yugo Osaki is not fighting this weekend because the Japanese Boxing Commission won't clear him to fight in America, and his promoters really just are making a mess of everything. So we've been out here for 4 weeks, 5 weeks helping the kid, and we don't even get to see the final product, which is sad because he was on weight. You know, he was right now. He's probably like within 5 or 6 pounds of his fighting weight right now. 4 or 5 pounds of his fighting weight right now. It was going to be an easy ass weight cut. We're about to put that dude in a blender and become the WBO mandatory, but no, the Japanese Boxing Commission had to get on some bullshit. So it's part of the game. It's the highs and lows. We'll stay positive. But yeah, no fight on Friday. You're right, though. He got more out of the boxing game so early than most ever get in their entire career. Yeah, it's ridiculous. BT, do you have a Caleb Plant impression? Since Hell has a pretty good one. My Caleb Plant impression is not as good as Sean's, but Caleb Plant's like, what do you say? What do you say? He's like, yeah, we know. hold on. Caleb Plant's like, he's like, well, you know, last time I checked, I beat Jose Usagi. Last time I checked, a dog walked him. They said Jose was gonna beat me, but I was the one doing the dog walking. Last time I checked, you in there box 4. I don't know. I can't. Sean has the facial expressions now too much. Do you think Brian Norman Jr. will beat Ryan Garcia on PEDs? Yes, I do. Damn, that's depressing. All that training to do, not to do nothing. How is he holding up? At first, you know, the last couple days, you know, he was down and I was down, but like now today, he looks relieved because he's gone through a lot of shit in this training camp. He's had to deal with a lot of things, coming to a new country, dealing with new coaches, you know, and training hard and sparring, and he just looks relieved, honestly. So I think things will work out, but it's just gonna take a little longer. So God's timing's perfect, and the story's still gonna end how I said it's gonna end. He's gonna be a world champion, and he's gonna be the future face of Japanese boxing. Hayato looks like the best Japanese prospect. He's not a prospect. He's a contender now. Once you get to like number 1, number 2 position, all that stuff, you're not a prospect no more. You are a contender. Yeah, he's fighting for the world title. He's not a prospect anymore. I would agree with you. I would agree with you, but he's not a prospect no more. He's literally about to be a world title challenger, potentially a world champion. So the best Japanese boxing prospect is the one that the JBC won't clear to fight in America. It's the one upstairs, my boy Yuga. Who do I got winning? Abdullah Mason or Devin Haney? Abdullah Mason. Abdullah Mason. When it comes to them guys at 135, 135, 140, I got Abdullah Mason over everybody. What the fuck does the JBC have to do with the fight in America? So let me educate you guys, because this may not be I'm pretty sure this is not public information, but every and all Japanese fighters, especially the ones that fight with Tekken promote that fight and work with Mr. Honda, you have to go through the Japanese Boxing Commission, even if you're not fighting in Japan. So now you're Inoue, all these guys from Japan that have fought in America, before they fought here, they have to get clearance from the Japanese Box Commission. Otherwise, they can't fight here. So, from my understanding, Yuga can't fight in America because there's something going on with him getting his clearance from the Japanese Box Commission, and his promoters have been working on it, but they haven't gotten that shit in order. So that's why we're not fighting. It's not because Yuga ducked the fight or Yuga wasn't ready or was unprofessional or wasn't on weight. It wasn't even because his opponent ducked. It's literally because of the JBC. So make it that what you will. I like Abdullah, but I think this next fight is going to tell a lot about him. I feel like he's getting the boost coordination treatment when in reality he's barely even had a real step-up fight. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong on that one. Sam Noakes, I know he's British, so a lot of Americans will say, well, he's British. These British fighters can't beat the Americans, right? We'll have that American arrogance. But I feel like, or as Tank likes to say, I feel as though that Sam Noakes is a dangerous opponent. And he really is punching like that. And Abdullah is not a fighter. Like, he's not a Shakur. He's not a Devin. He's not a Hitchens. He's not going to get on his back foot and box and be safety first. He's a butcher. He's an apex predator. He's going to look to punch a hole through you. And that could be his ultimate undoing in this fight. So, yeah, this fight will tell us a lot about him. Does that mean he's with Tekken? That's just, they can't stop the fight. That they can stop the fight. No, he's not with Tekken, but, like, you don't, even if you're not with Tekken Promotions, like pretty much any big time boxers that fight in Tokyo, even if they're not directly with Tekken Promotions, they're all Mr. Honda, because you got to deal with Mr. Honda regardless, even if you're not with Tekken Promotions. So, like Mikita, for example, Mikita Nakano and Kenji Fujita, they're Tekken fighters, but they're signed to All-Star Boxing and Tutu Sabala, and Tutu Sabala works with Mr. Honda. Yugo Osaki has a similar arrangement where he signed to All-Star Boxing, who works with Mr. Honda. So yeah, do you get suspended if you go ahead with the fight? He can't fight. They're not gonna let him fight because the card that he's supposed to fight on is an All-Star Boxing card. All-Star Boxing works with Mr. Honda. Mr. Honda pretty much owns the Japanese, like he owns a part of the Japanese Box Commission. Like he has the Japanese Box Commission in his back pocket pretty much. So he's not going to fight. Like the rabbit hole goes deep, guys. Like the more and more I learn about Mr. Honda and his influence in Japan, it is ridiculous. Sam Noakes is in his physical prime too. He looks sturdy and strong. I feel like it will come down to how well Sam takes Abdullah's power and Mason's gassing hold because I don't think he has been many rounds. No, Abdullah for the most part is used to hitting guys with like 5 or 6 shots and they just fall down. I don't think he's going to hit Sam Noakes and Sam's just going to immediately go ahead and fall down. Sora Tanaka, the Mike Tyson of Japan, is he fighting? I don't know. Do you got Abdullah over Shakur? If they fight, ooh, that's tough. That's really, really tough. Conventional wisdom says that he probably doesn't have the experience to be the guy like Shakur Stevenson right now. But, man, that kid is really good. And he really is punching like that. And he can box, too. And he knows Shakur. Listen, I think I want to see if Shakur fights Abdullah because right now Shakur, his stock is on the rise because, Tank duck Shakur. But guess what? The roles could reverse. If Abdullah versus Shakur could become the fight to make at 135, and if Shakur don't fight Abdullah, he'll get the Tank treatment. So it'd be crazy. Nobody beat Shakur at 135. Oh, it sounds good. They're both with James Prince, BT. Oh, there you go. Thank you for reminding me. No different than Junto Nakatani and Bam or World Mr. Honda. You know how that go. Business. Boxing is a business that masquerades itself like a sport. Shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT, the Untouchable. True School Sports Empire, giving you guys another live this month. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Let me know what city, what state, what continent you're watching from. Definitely super chat, all that good stuff. It's good to be here again. It's good to be seen. It's not quite True School After Dark, but we're here. Do I think Teofimo Lopez can beat Shakur Stevenson? Yes, I do. But I'm picking Shakur Stevenson. I think Shakur Stevenson will be his skills and intelligence will be too much for Tio in that fight. So I'm gonna pick Shakur. But when it comes to fights that actually matter for Teofimo Lopez, he's always up for them. I don't understand it. Like the dude will like look like the best fighter in boxing when he fights Lomachenko and Josh Taylor, but then he fights George Kambosos and looks like trash. He'll fight Masayoshi Nakatani and look like trash. So just because of his track record in big fights, I gotta give him a chance, a big chance. But I'm gonna go with Shakur. I need that Mr. Honda documentary. Guys, there's such little information on Mr. Honda in boxing on the internet that even if I wanted to do a Mr. Honda documentary, it'd be very difficult, honestly. But shit, we might need to do one. Sean Zattel feels the same way. I remember Sean Zattel was very, very bullish on that same stance about Floyd Schofield potentially being Shakur. I would love that fight. I still think that's a fight they should revisit. How come you don't visit the Tekken gym when you visit Japan? Because it's very, very strict and it's not a place that I'm welcome because people from Tekken promotions don't like me. There's one guy in particular that doesn't like me that I almost got into a physical altercation with back in January. So that's why I don't go there. But as far as the fighters there, like Subaru Murata is a friend of the channel. Makita Nakano and me have exchanged pleasantries before. We've been cool when I've seen them in public, but it's just not a place that's very welcoming to me. Maybe in the future I'll go. I've been to pretty much every gym in Japan except Tekken Gym. So basically, Mr. Honda is the Japanese Al Heyman. Worse, more powerful than Al Heyman. Al is not anywhere as close as powerful in America as Mr. Honda is in Japan. It's ridiculous. Like the more I learn, the more I'm like astounded. Schofield versus Mason is the fight I prefer. I mean that's two young guns fighting each other, but I mean Shakur versus Schofield was made. It was a fight that was supposed to happen, so why not? Yeah, going back to this question, you know what the saddest thing about Tekken Gym is? The saddest thing about me never visiting the Tekken Gym is that before I ever went to Japan back in 2023, like at all, the gym I wanted to visit the most was Tekken Gym. But I've just had so many bad experiences with people from Tekken Gym, and they've been very unwelcoming. And even a lot of the fighters that I communicated with from there, they've made it very clear to me that it's a very strict gym and to not go there. So I respect their wishes and the requests and don't go there. But Roma Gonzalez is my favorite fighter of all time. So I used to always see videos of him training at the Tekken Boxing Gym. So it was always a dream for me to go there. But maybe on the next Japan trip, I might try going there just to see what it's like and go for the no, get kicked out. But it's not really something I'm looking forward to. Does Turkey equal Mr. Honda? I would say Mr. Honda is a lot closer to Turkey than he is Al Heyman. Hell, I would even go as far as saying that Mr. Honda might be more powerful in Japanese boxing than Turkey is. Shit, he's powerful. When are you going to visit South Africa or Ghana? I would like you to make African boxing content. That's probably the next. That's the next place I want to go. That's the next place I want to go. Honestly, as far as like that kind of content. Right now, I don't have that kind of money, and I got some other business ventures that I'm working on. So right now, my money's going towards those things. But who knows? Maybe like maybe next year, maybe like around this time next year. I would love to go to Africa. Why BT like kicking you out? You're cool. I don't exactly know the reasons why. I have my theories, but I don't know. They just don't. I think it's just because I'm a YouTube reporter, so they look down upon YouTube boxing content creators. If you're not like with a Japanese TV station or like with ESPN or something like that, they don't really give a fuck about you out there. If you're like talking about Tekken Gym or Ohashi, that's just the truth. I don't know. There's one guy that works for them that really just he despises the side of me, and I don't like him either. We might actually really fight one day. So if you guys ever hear that BT got into altercation in Japan, it's with that guy. The reason why all that happened, it's literally because of I went to the Yi Jun Kim fight and I recorded Naoya Inoue walking by me for 5 seconds and put it on YouTube. That's literally it. Like, there's no other reason. What's good, Greg? Make sure y'all go show love to my main man, Greg Hackett, Philly in the building. Mr. Honda has something to do with Honda Automobile. No. Honda is just a common name in Japan. I'm getting to that point. Like, I don't go around looking for trouble. I like to say to myself, but man, that's the one guy, if I could pick one guy on boxing I want to beat the brakes off of, it's that dude from Japan, Masatoshi Ueno. I don't like that guy. He walks around so arrogant. Like, people are like scared of him in Japan because he has a fancy title. I don't care about none of that shit, bro. I'll smack him dead in his mouth. That's how I feel. He came to America. He's not old. I would say he's probably like in his 40s. He looks like he's in about his 40s. He came to America for the Inoue Cardenas fight, and he didn't have that same. He had a certain type of energy for me in Japan, but then when he came to America, he didn't have that same energy because I tried to like confront him like respectfully as a man, and he didn't really want to talk. So yeah, I don't got no respect for him. If I'm just being honest. BT, has there or do you know any fighters that didn't grow up rough or in poverty that went on to succeed in boxing? Most boxers come from a form of poverty, so there are some that didn't succeed. Rafael Espinoza, from my understanding, he doesn't come from a impoverished background. From what I've read and researched about Rafael Espinoza, he comes from like a good family and all that stuff. Calvin Brock, he didn't come from the ghetto. He didn't win the world title, but he got his degree in like finance and he challenged for the world title. Sebastian Fundora didn't grow up in a bad background, and he's going to get his engineering degree at Harvard. So I mean, there's special cases. It's not always about Chris Algieri, another guy, got his degree in clinical nutrition at Stony Brook University. Went on to become world champion. Didn't even really have an amateur career. He did all of his amateur career, so to speak, as a kickboxer. So I mean, there's plenty of examples. Boxing's not just about that. That's just how old people act. That's just how old people act out here. I wouldn't even take offense to it. Well, the thing is, I wouldn't take offense to it if I didn't have to deal with him. But the problem is, every time I go out there, me and him always cross paths. So it's like I always got to see this guy. It's already been a good minute since Osaki's last fight. Now we are gonna have to wait even longer. Yeah, that's what I said. They're playing a lot of games, man. But then Taosuke Takami, he's not even close to as good as Yuka. Not even close. Everyone thinks he is, but he's not. But he's gonna get all the fights because he's Honda's guy. I can't wait for that fight. That's a fight, guys. I'm taking that fight as personal as a Venado fight. When Yuka fights Takami, we're gonna beat the brakes off him, man. I can't wait. Espinoza dad owns a farm and sells avocados and onions. I forgot what they said, but their family told us that he has money off that or something. Yeah, like he's not from like the rough parts of Mexico, or like he's not like a lot of these Mexican fighters. You know, he's comes from a good background, good family. BT out here pressing dudes, bro. I mind my business and I drink my water. Like I'm not gonna puff my chest out and act like I'm the toughest guy in the world, because I'm not. But if you disrespect me and you force me to like stick up for myself, I'm gonna do it. Like I ain't no bitch. Like that's just what it is. Malinaji, you think Malinaji? Malinaji, I don't know. He grew up in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. That's pretty rough over there. that's a good bet. That's a tough place to grow up in. Yeah, Chris Algieri. No. Now Inoue trains at Ohashi Gym. I've seen him. I saw Inoue at Ohashi Gym when Norman was there. I went to go visit Norman one night. And he was over there doing sit-ups. Yeah, it's just how it is, man. Like, you know, I would love to live in a world where I could just be at peace and not have to like go crazy sometimes. But sometimes you gotta crash out every now and then. Is Kyosuke Takami gonna stay at 108 or move? I'd like to see Yugo Osaki versus Takami. From what I've read, Takami is gonna defend his belt at least one more time, and then he's gonna go up to 112. So I don't think we're gonna get that fight at 108. If it happens, it probably happens at 112. But it bothers me. Like it be bothering me, like the same way it bothered me before the Venado Lopez fight with Angelo, that people would like talk about some of these guys like they were like that, and then Angelo went and did what he did. It's having that same effect on me when people talk about Takami like that. Like I know Yuga's better than him. I've been knowing that since before. I remember back in December of last year, January this year, when I was doing my prospect review videos on all these Japanese prospects. I was running through the gauntlet of all these upcoming guys. I thought that Yugo was better than Takami back in December, January when I did those videos. I saw a better fighter. I don't know, man. I've never talked to him. I've been like within 5 feet of him, but I never try to talk to him because every time I get around him, people in Japan lose their shit. So I don't even try to talk to him. Kyle Sugi got to fight one of the weakest 108 champions ever, a tiny soft point. That's what I'm saying. Like if Yuga fights a champion at 108, he's gonna have to fight like Rene Santiago, who, in my opinion, is a better fighter than Pac-Man Rosa. BTR Torres, welcome at Japanese boxing gyms, or is it only if you have connections? I would honestly advise that you'd have some connections, because they just get, like, if you don't speak the language, they get real worried over there. Yeah, I'll be there for that. I'll be out there for that. Shock versus Fulton. I got Stephen Fulton in that fight. I think it's a good fight. Shock could definitely box on the outside, as can Fulton. Shock's best quality, I think, is his ability to slow the pace down. Fulton's best ability is his ability to adapt. The only guy he has been able to adapt to in his career is Inoue, who's an all-time great fighter. So they probably think you're spying. I'm not, but it is what it is. Is Akira Higashi around Inoue? Did you talk to him or take a picture? No. Ohashi Gym is extremely anal with everyone. I remember one time I asked the one of the guys that works at the gym that I had to talk to one time. I said, look, okay, I can't interview Inoue. I understand he's a big deal. Okay, can I interview Sora Tanaka? Can I interview Yuta Sakai? Can I interview the prospects? And they said no. They said no, because only like Japanese TV stations and ESPN and pre-approved media by Ohashi Boxing Gym can enter the gym to interview even the prospects. So it's ridiculous. Not gonna lie, BT, I was definitely saying Fulton was ducking this book at 126, but seeing him recently, he definitely bulked up pretty good. He's been living life, man. He's been enjoying the fruits of his labor. Japanese people are generally very mindful to outsiders. Well, that's like if we're talking about like outside the boxing world, yes, I would say yes. If you're in Yokohama, Tokyo, these kind of places, yes, I would agree with you. But when it comes to Japanese boxing, that is not. When it comes to the big time Japanese boxing gyms, I don't want to say like when it comes to Tekken Gym and Ohashi Gym, those two gyms, the two big gyms in Japan, it is not like that. It is very, very, very. My experience, at least, I can only speak from my experience. It has been very unwelcoming, and I've tried writing letters. I've had Japanese friends of mine call the gym and try to schedule things. I've tried to communicate all kinds of ways. I've had no luck. So it is what it is. But all other 15 or 17 gyms have been very friendly to me. So it's been great experiences. And almost all the top guys at 130 or sooner or later, Fulton might as well go ahead and start. He also is not ruling out a rematch with Inoue. Yeah, I mean, he's doing his thing. It sounds so different from big American gyms like RGBA. I've never been to RGBA, but I've been to plenty of gyms in the West Coast, and I have an idea of what RGBA is like, what could be like if I went there. I can guarantee you, Ohashi Gym is in a Tekken Gym is way different than anywhere you've ever been to. It's a damn shame I left before the boys started the 3-day training camp. Got to go back, man. I mean, at least you know the guys at Ohashi or at Hachiochi Nakaya, so you can always go back. What was the easiest gym for you to visit other than Jin's gym? All of them. Every gym in Japan that I've ever been to that's not Tekken Boxing Gym or Ohashi Boxing Gym has been easy. So Watanabe Boxing Gym, Kurashiki Moriyato Boxing Gym, Misako Boxing Gym, BNB Boxing Gym, Knockout Punch Boxing and Fitness, Hatanaka Boxing in Nagoya, Japan, where Tanaka trains. That's another one. Tenshin Boxing Gym, Yokohama Hikari Boxing Gym. I mean, every gym but Ohashi and Tekken. So is the guy Yuga was gonna fight getting the eliminator? No, he's not. I don't think his fight's an eliminator fight. So there's some guy that he fought previously in his career and they had a close fight. He's doing a rematch with that guy. And so his opponent will go on to fight. But Yuga, who was the A side of the fight, is not getting the fight. It's all fucked up. So Japan has no boxing YouTubers. No, it has boxing YouTubers, but those boxing YouTubers, like Family Time, like Boxing and Boxing, if you watch those Japanese boxing channels, they don't get access to Ohashi Gym like that. It's different. I'm telling y'all, it's different. That's why it makes you really appreciate how how America is to a degree. I love Japanese culture, but and I understand why they are how they are. But man, it's like if the Ohashi people would just take some time to talk to me and get to know me, they would see I'd be very valuable to them. You need that Cholatito connect with Tekken. I know his manager, Carlos Blandon, but don't worry. Sooner or later they're gonna have to deal with me, so it is what it is. But guys, we've hit the 2-hour mark, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. It's been a pleasure talking to you guys. I'll be live again tomorrow to talk about the whole like TKO boxing Paramount Plus deal. I'm gonna think that over some more and get my own original thoughts on that. But that'll be tomorrow's live, and if anything else happens, we'll add on to the live. But listen, thank you guys so much for the support. It's been a very eventful month being out here in camp with Yugo Osaki, and now we're not even fighting. So such as life, such as boxing, things will get better. And even though like the channel is not growing to the rate that I wanted it to this month, it's still growing. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful to that. And I know that the fourth quarter of the year will be the best part of the year. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thank you for the support. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.